always trying to get started. That's the problem.
I've heard that's an issue for some people. But they make pills for that, so.
Thank you, ladies, for coming. And thank you for being in my podcast.
Yes.
And I want to introduce Katie as an old-time friend that has been here since this counter.
Yeah, it's real.
You've been around as long as the counter has.
I might outlast it.
You will outlast it. And then Kacee, as a new friend, thank you for joining. This is going to be so fun and enlightening for all of us, I'm sure. So, first question is, I'll ask you first and give you a second to think. As a new friend, you get the courtesy of a minute.
Lucky.
Why did you say yes to being on my podcast?
Oh, I have waited 10 years to answer this question right here at this very island. I think I have had such an amazing ability to witness your journey into where you are now in your career. And I think we have had such various conversation over the years. I can't count how many we have looked at each other and said, why is this not being recorded? Why is this not on film? Why are we not capturing this? And so when you were like, hey, this is what's happening, I was like, every dream I've had for 10 years is coming true in this very moment. And I hope she picks me. And you did. So I think the ability to be a part of this start of your journey is just like, one, a huge honor, and two, something I think that it's time for. And I was lucky to be a part of it. That's why I'm at this conference.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't supposed to be. So I came to support you, and I sat down this chair, and here I am.
Well, thank you for saying yes. I do love yes friends. Because it makes life so much more exciting and adventurous, and you never know what you're going to get. So, thank you.
Well, what are we making? Like, what are you making? Because obviously we're just drinking.
We are making.
The real question is, what are you serving us?
Welcome to my kitchen. And this is my favorite thing to do, is to feed people. One of my favorites is to feed people. And I used to joke that I was going to do a cooking show, and it was going to be called Cooking from My Cupboards, because it's whatever I have in my cupboard. So today we are doing stuffed mushrooms and an arugula salad with burrata and pomegranates from a friend's tree and lemon zest from my tree and a balsamic glaze that I made. So that's what we're going to eat today. And I don't use recipes, and there aren't measurements. It's all by feel. And
so how many garlic cloves was that? I'm just asking so we can have it.
Don't know. Hopefully you all like garlic. Some of our conversations around this counter have just been about life, relationships, and the ebb and flow and the evolution of what it looks like to evolve as a human, as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, as a friend. How have those conversations impacted you?
Oh, so we're just starting with a light question with not a lot of content on any level.
You feel free, give content. We love backstory.
Gosh, I mean, let me just start with my most favorite thing ever that was probably the most revolutionary line. Like, I have these favorite one-liners that I carry with me over in my back pockets. Whenever I get in situations where I'm like, what does one do here? I just pull out a one-liner from her that I'm like, oh, this is the appropriate time for that. One of my most favorite lines is, we get to. And so we have I'm just going to say it. Yeah. So my late husband and I had a very interesting way that we met each other. It was in a very controlled environment. And in a lot of ways, you can say we had an arranged marriage, which was a hilarious part of our journey. Later years, it was hilarious once we recovered. And you can imagine that in the throes of that, there was a lot of rules and regulations and what do you need to do and what are you supposed to do and all of these things. And as we were making our way out of that world and into the freedom, which I think we'll come back around to this because what got us there was a lot of religious nuances that helped get us there. But one of the ways that we kind of moved through that was this whole concept of you get to. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I remember sitting at our house on a Friday night and there was just this, no, but you get to do that. And I was like, can we dive deeper into that one sentence? So what do you mean? And it was just this whole entire concept of we don't really have to. Like, you're not beholden in all these wild ways where you're trapped. You actually get to engage in these things and you get to decide what you want to do in those moments. Whatever moment it is, even if it's as small as when you're going grocery shopping or the larger decisions that you're looking at. And I just hadn't heard it phrased that way in life, that no, I get to do these things. I get to engage in this way. And it actually opened this door for me internally to really look at like, well, wow, like if I get to do that, then I need to figure out what it is I want to get to do. And it just made me really reflect like, okay, then what am I going to do? What do I want to do? Who am I going to be in this life? Because from those places is really where you understand where you want to go and what you want to do and what you get to do. And so that was probably one of the most transformative conversations, I think. And it didn't just stop with one. I think, gosh, we must have had it like 1,000,001 times over the years.
Yeah, it's layers. It's getting used to having that option of not being stuck in the I have to or I should. Is it safe enough for me to say I get to? Yeah. And try something small. And so it's one layer at a time of I get to. And so the first one is at a grocery store. And then later on in life, it's I get to move. I get to actually make decisions for myself without the shoulds. We get to choose how we want to live our life and where we're going instead of our life happening to us. We create. And we get to create the life we want.
Was that something that was like a revelation for you, or that's something that an understanding you came into, or do you think that was just kind of an understanding you've generally had?
Great question. Let me think about that a second. I don't think it was I think it was innately in me. I don't think it was necessarily fully taught. Yeah. I think the idea was longed for in my upbringing. But I don't think any of us had the freedom or capacity to actually walk into it, to actually recognize, like, this is what we get to do and own it. Like, there was a lot of things we did, but then there could be guilt or shame or concern about what others are going to think instead of, oh yeah, I've intentionally chose this and I get to, and not be as concerned. So I think innately in me and my extended family, I don't think there was ever the capacity to actually walk it out.
So would you say that you've evolved in it yourself then, in your understanding of it and what it looks like? And has that been a part of your journey as well?
Absolutely. Like, even with being married, what marriage looks like is so different than I came in expecting marriage to be. Like, 21 years, very different now than when we first got married. My idea of what it's supposed to be is vastly different. And the appreciation of who I get to be and who Sam gets to be is huge. Like, we get to be two autonomous people that cohabitate, that support each other, but I'm not responsible for him and he is not responsible for me. And that's what makes it work. But if I'm afraid of what he's doing or how he represents me, then I'm going to be in trouble. And then I'm going to try to control him, or vice versa.
Ooh, that's
and
good.
then it's like, we're going to white knuckle our way through life and marriage. And we tried that for a little bit. Didn't work. So we needed to change tactics.
Is that control piece that you just mentioned, do you think that's just intuitive nature in people? Or do you think it's a learned behavior by upbringing? Like if they're thinking they're responsible for another person, do you have like a thought? I mean, I know you have lots of thoughts.
So many thoughts.
Real
thoughts for days.
Real facts.
My thought is our nervous system is designed to keep us safe. And control is often a survival skill.
Yeah, it's a
right?
great one.
I start white knuckling. I start trying to control if I don't regulate myself well. And so we go into a marriage believing this thing, and society, we've been socially and culturally conditioned, it's supposed to look like this. And when it doesn't, we start controlling. And so we go into survival mode, which is detrimental to both parties.
Yeah.
Right? And then we have a tendency to vilify the other, and we're the victim. Yeah. Right? Because you can't both be right and not both be okay.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's what in me is not doing okay? You're fine. You're still you. Can be annoying, but doesn't make them right or doesn't make them wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's recognizing, why am I trying to control? What am I afraid of? And it's the hypervigilance.
Yeah.
Like, and it's oftentimes, like we had mentioned earlier, where they have a freedom or capacity to express themselves in a way we don't have access to ourselves. That's when we try to control, because it's the thing that draws us to them, yet also is the scariest thing because it exposes something in us.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, on like the get to approach, how do you take that approach when life kind of feels like circumstances feel out of your control? You know what I mean? Like things that you can't really feel like you don't have control over it, you know?
Such as?
I don't know, like a trauma, like something happened to you. And so it's like, how do you take the I get to approach from something like that, you know?
Yeah. No, that's
maybe that's not applicable.
No, that's a great question.
That's very
I know you
applicable.
get to, like, for me, I guess I get to decide how I'm going to respond to this, to this circumstance. Like with my ex, like, I can't control how he treats me or my children.
Right.
But I get to control how I respond to it and how the kids see me respond to it, you know?
And recognizing, so in those situations, oftentimes we try to protect from the negative feelings. So we don't allow ourselves to fully feel the anger, the frustration, the disappointment, the melancholy, whatever it is. And so we get defensive because we're trying to protect that thing we're trying not to let be seen. Right? And so in those situations, I get to be angry. I get to be pissed at him. And let it be real, and then allow that to move through you, and let your children see, I'm pissed the way he treats you.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. It doesn't have to be always positive, you know?
No, and that's
Yeah.
and that is a huge thing, is we've been trained that uncomfortable situations are negative or bad. And so we avoid them because we weren't allowed to feel those things. And so we have a lot of people that are disassociated from a lot of things, or we numb and we don't feel the high highs or the low lows because we weren't allowed. So we tried to numb. And so, we get to be sad. We get to be angry. As long as we're not hurting ourselves or others, it's actually extremely healthy. Like when our children were younger, we would have cry time because no matter what was going on, like emotions were high, we'd sit, and we actually did this in the car with friends of ours. We were driving an hour home, and it was past their bedtime, and they were just all losing it. And I was like, okay, you've got 5 minutes and it's cry time. You can wail, you can scream, whatever. And I was like, sorry guys, but otherwise we've got an hour of this. Yeah. And so they got to just sit and cry, get it out. And then the timer went off and everyone was done.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right? And so creating space for all the feels and not just the ones that feel good has been huge for us.
I'm intrigued at the piece we were just talking about, how you find someone who's like the opposite of you a little bit. Do you think that's a way of like people subconsciously picking a fight with themselves, but outside of their bodies? Because like our fight, like we want to, like we have an internal drive to resolve, right? Like we want to solve, we want to be at peace. And when our insides don't match our outsides, we're consistently trying to find space to make that peace. But if we find somebody that we're like, oh, they have what I want, then maybe we have this chance to like fight it out with them because we can't quite fight with ourselves. Mm-hmm. Do you think that there's a subconscious level of that happening with individuals, and when they're like finding who they have, say, quote unquote, chemistry with, or they feel at instantly home with, or all these other phrases that our lovely rom-coms out there grant us the ability to utilize? Not that I love a good rom-com. Y'all don't hear me wrong. I love a good rom-com. But sometimes that's not real.
Yeah. Like with the rom-coms, it sets us up to fail because so butterflies is your nervous system saying something is unknown and new and I don't know how to be settled. Right? And so that's why we feel butterflies at the beginning of a relationship, right? And so if I am 21 years in and still every time I see Sam get butterflies, that means my nervous system doesn't know how to respond to him, right? So that would actually be a toxic relationship. It would not be healthy. There are still moments that you get to get butterflies because he does something unexpected, or there's something new that gets brought to the table that was unknown, right? But your nervous system, if you actually sleep better with them next to you, that's your nervous system saying, I'm safe, right? And so if you ever notice when your spouse isn't there, you're like, oh, I don't sleep as well.
I should make a rom-com about that.
Because and you get sleepy with the person you feel safest with.
So butterflies can be bad.
So butterflies they're not bad across the board. Yet it's the tumultuousness of a relationship that often causes them in long term, which is not something you want because then you're in survival mode. People want it and they're like, oh, I fell out of love. No, you're actually maturing in love. That was there to get things going at the beginning. But later it's like, oh, if I have to have that, then that was more just lust. That wasn't really love. Love is like, I actually still choose you. It's not just, oh, I love you. It's, I'm going to choose you. I know everything about you and still try to keep the mystery alive. Like I still try to joke with Sam. It's like, surprise. And he's like, I didn't know that. I was like, what do I have later? He can still surprise us. Right? But it's those type of things of not settling to keep things interesting for you and for them, but also recognizing what does my nervous system need? And oftentimes we choose someone that triggers us, right?
Yeah.
That's because our nervous system is looking for someone to help restore that disconnect that we had in childhood. That because our spouse didn't start the trigger.
The having a type thing always intrigues me because I'm like, oh, you have a certain type. Your friends have a certain type. But it's like when you meet that person, you don't necessarily, like before you met them, you're attracted to them for some reason, but you don't necessarily know the ins and outs of their relationship.
Yes.
Like their personality.
Yeah.
And so you get to know them and it's like, wait a minute, like this is familiar.
Yeah.
I keep going for this person, but obviously I didn't know them that deeply when we had that chemistry, if you will. You know?
Yeah. It's your nervous system is drawn to the familiar. And so you're like, oh, I like them. Or is it just the familiar dysfunction? Sometimes it can be a familiar safety. Or when people say, oh, it feels like home, check in. Is my home my childhood? And is that the home I want to feel?
Yeah.
Right?
So what do you do if your type is completely wrong for you? The people who are drawn to that same type of person, that's terrible for them. It's like, how do you break that? Because it's like obviously ingrained in you to be drawn to this type of person, though, you know?
Yeah.
That's when you go see a somatic practitioner. All right, and that's perfect. That's when you actually start recognizing, is this helpful or hurtful to me and the longevity of my life, right? Because you want to be able to be fully you. Are you able to show up as fully you without diminishing you in the process of trying to keep them? Mm-hmm. Because if you diminish you, that's more fawning than anything, and that's again a survival skill: fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And you don't want to live a life in survival mode. And so recognizing these people have these qualities, and are they willing to grow with you in a way that actually they're growing also, because you have the counterpart to theirs. Yeah. Right? And so it's allowing yourself to be triggered and recognizing, are we in this together? Not to encourage, not to hold you accountable, not to change you, but to be here to support you as you heal those old wounds. And so you may be attracted to a type. Is that type willing to grow with you?
For the record, me and my husband are perfect for each other. He's his type.
Nobody was questioning.
No, I didn't even question.
I'm just like in the past.
Yeah.
We're friends.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah.
A friend of a friend?
Yeah. Okay, good. Which is, it's interesting because I think, like, as much as that applies to, like, your intimate relationships, like with who you want to date or who you're married to and all of those things, there's a dynamic of that actually plays out in your friendships as well. I think, I don't know how much we actually talk about, like, friendships in adulthood and what those really look like and the evolution of them and all of the things. But I do know that along the way there have been, I just know it's a thing I hear people mention, that's a hard thing to navigate as you get older and you're moving into. But I wonder too if some of these things that if they just run along the same vein, like with friendships, like are you finding people that are allowing space for you to evolve and grow?
Oh, yeah, that's a great thought. But my guess is yes, you find the people that you do have chemistry with. And it's not just opposite sex. It's like all interactions has to have some sort of chemistry. Yeah. Right? Otherwise it falls flat. And then it's like, I could take it or leave it. But friend groups, you build chemistry, and chemistry isn't just one of those things that just is. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that can be built. It's like a soccer team or a friend group. And some people will grow with that chemistry, and others wanted it just here and are fine to evolve out or in. Maybe they're not fine, but it's the ebb and flow of relationships and humanity and our journeys into who we are becoming, or who we already are that we're giving ourselves more access to. Because I think we already are, and have we been given the opportunity, or have we taken the opportunity to actually allow ourselves to fully show up? Yeah. And different friends bring out different sides of you. I
think that's one thing I've always enjoyed about our friendship, I think, because obviously I've moved away, I've moved back, and our worlds look different than they did, 10 years ago, let alone just 2 years ago. Our worlds look so different. But there's just been this way that we've just not found each other. That's interesting language, but it's more like we've just always ran. You'll call me with some I'm looking into this now. I'm like, I love that. Send me the link, and it's but it's always been these really fascinating journeys of, I will tell people it's the baseline of our friendship because I met you at a ugly sweater Christmas party and we bonded over the competitiveness of catchphrase, which everybody should play. And then literally the next day it was do you want to run a marathon with me? As I randomly ran into her at a walking park area. And I was like, I absolutely do. And then that has been the nature of it all. But I think in all of that, there's been this capacity to meet each other at each stage and be in the process. But it wasn't we made decisions to do that, And I think people think that there's just we're these friends and we stay in this lane and we stay in this group and there's not an evolution. But I think there's every bit of an evolution in friendships as much as there is in even though marriages and intimate relationships.
They have to be intentional. You can't just be okay, so I chose this person and okay, let's see where it goes. It is a continual choice to, okay, I chose to be in relationship with you. What does that look like? And where do I want to show up? And how do I want to show up?
Yeah.
Right? If it matters to you, I want it to matter to me. It doesn't mean I value things the same as Sam does or my friends do.
Right.
But because you value it and I value you, why would I not value it?
Yeah.
Right? So there's that element of choice, and it expands us.
Yes.
Like being able to value you for just who you are, like it expands my perspective, my understanding, because my way isn't the only right way.
Yep.
Right? And so it holds space for all of it, all of Katie, all of Kacee, all of me to just show up. And I'm not trying to make you be like me, because then we'd be 3 cooks in the kitchen, and that's not fun for me.
No, it's not fun. Also, here would be a great time to tell our favorite, we love her, but that's not the role model story.
Yes.
This would be a really great time to insert that. It's one of my favorite stories in the whole world. And just so everybody knows, I am not the role model, in case anybody was wondering who was going to be not the role model in that scenario. It's me.
So I don't cuss too often. Rarely do I cuss. And
I admire you.
and Katie does.
Quite often.
When we met, we would joke she cussed like a sailor.
Yep.
And totally fine. I don't care. I don't get offended. None of that. But she would come to our house. I don't care if she cusses in front of our children. When they were young. And so the standard was, you just don't get to talk like Miss Katie. Like, not to belittle her. It's just not the standard that I want for our children. And Katie knew it. And so it was just a joke. Yeah, we don't get to talk like Miss Katie. It was fine. And they never saw it as a deficit on her part. It was just like, oh, we just don't. And so she gets to, and so do we. And there's no vilifying, again, bringing it back to, didn't make her wrong. It didn't make her bad. It just like, it's not my preference. When they turn older, 18,
45,
they can do what they want, and they can talk how they want. But it gives them a grid of understanding, like, oh, why do I want to cuss? Who do I want to sound like or emulate more? And it's not just, oh, this is what we can or can't do, but it's let's give them the perspective and a broad variety of people and interactions of, oh, I want this bit from her. I want this bit from you. And surrounding our children with a slew of friendships that are all very different, so that they get to recognize, like, oh, the world is endless and we get to.
And I never felt... Like, I can attest, like, there was not a time where I was like, I shouldn't act this way. Like, I never stopped changing who I was in that. And even now, I could say, like, if I come in and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll, like, tone it down. The kids are like, what are you doing? Like, that's weird. Like, because for them, they're like, that's who you are. And we accept you for who you are and the fullness of you are, even if it doesn't adhere to, like, what our family does, you know, and, like, you know, obviously my son cusses because he has a mom that cusses. And we had a wild conversation about when it was appropriate to say certain cuss words. Because I was like, but such different households, but the same here. Like, he could probably cuss here, and there's not a belittling, there's not a less than. And it was just one of those things where we just got to be. Like, we just got to be who we were and are. And it was probably one of my favorites. The kids and I still joke about it today.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like as parents, we try to sugarcoat too much, and I feel like they need to be exposed because they are going to be exposed whether you like it or not. Yeah. And the sooner that they can kind of learn that discernment, and like you said, what they want to be, who they want to be, you know, I think just keeping everything PG is the answer.
No.
That's true.
Then they're going to leave.
Like, all right, let it cuss words slip out. My daughter's like, Mom.
Well, yeah.
Just saying that.
Well, I think, light adulthood, I'm not going to lie, was a real slap in the face on some levels Because I think there were just, like, growing up in evangelical church and purity culture and all those things, it was like, here were all these rules you had to adhere by, and here's the right way to do life. And then you enter life and you're like, oh, like if you leave that bubble, you're like, oh, wow, there's actually so much more out there. And even though I don't begrudge my upbringing in any way, I see the value of it. There's a lot of great things. There are definitely some things that there's an unraveling that has to happen in some ways. And it's like to know, like, don't think I haven't called my dad sometimes, like, once a week and was like, hey, just reminiscing. Just wondering if maybe you guys possibly had considered. And he's like, oh, wildly enough, we didn't. I'm like, weird. But I think it's like understanding, like, you know, there is such freedom and acceptance. And there's not just one right way to do a thing. And it's wild.
Well, have you, Kacee, realized, like, oh, there's not just one right way? Has that impacted you?
Well, I was definitely raised in a bubble.
Were you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, say more.
And it was funny because, like, my parents, you know, I was raised Christian, went to church, all that stuff. And, I mean, we weren't even allowed to say fart, you know, that kind of house.
Did you have to say pass gas?
I think you would say toot.
I love that. I think every family has a word that is the appropriate word.
Ours was fluff.
Ours was fluff. There should be a book somewhere that was like, what were the appropriate words you can use for passing like anything bodily? Yeah.
Yeah. And we used to get those VHS movie subscriptions, like Christian movie subscriptions that would come in the mail.
Oh my gosh.
Super PG, like negative PG.
Negative PG,
needless
beautiful.
to say, I was pretty naive.
Negative PG.
And then like I'm leaving for college and my mom's terrified. She's like, how is she going to survive in the world? She's so naive. I'm like, I wonder how I got that way.
Thanks.
I need to go out in the world and experience life a little bit.
Yeah, but if I call you 45 times a day, you did this. You did this and I love you. You definitely did.
Yeah. I don't know if that answers.
No, it does.
So was it but as you entered, was that overwhelming for you? Or did you find that you were able to like cope and navigate fairly well?
Well, my exit was kind of dark because I got married young. I got married to the pastor's son. I was 20, he was 18. He decided to leave at 4 months because he changed his mind. And the whole church...
Church or you?
Me.
Oh.
Yeah, so he left. Didn't want to talk about it, just left. And, of course, I was devastated. And the church, like, embraced him back because he's the pastor's son. And I felt totally just abandoned and didn't have anybody. So that's when I kind of walked away from God. I walked away from the church. And that's how I entered the world into my college years and 20s. Wow. And so I definitely left on a bad note, bad foot, and made a lot of mistakes along the way. So I found out the wrong way to do things first, and then stumbled upon a better way.
Yeah, it is hard, and I think that's part of what Sam and I are trying to do with our children, like allow them to be exposed to a lot more while they're in our home. Like our oldest has a boyfriend, and so we get to have all those conversations of what are you going to do and what are you doing physically, and if you're waiting, what does sex mean to you? Like to everybody it's different.
Such a good
and
question.
so having those conversations of like, hey, you actually need to choose and be intentional about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And it's been like the teenagers have been like always was the time of parenting that I was most excited about. Like I wanted the teenagers because I wanted to have the conversations about sex, about who are you becoming, what do you actually want in life, and where are your values in this, and they don't have to look like mine. And even our oldest was like, I don't want my relationship to just look like yours and Dad's because Sam was my first boyfriend. And she's like, I don't. And then we got married within a year of our dating. We were on our honeymoon on our 1-year anniversary, which is crazy. Don't recommend it. Don't recommend it. But being able to look back, I don't regret any of my choices because I made those decisions very intentionally with the information and education I had.
Yeah.
And now there's this element of, oh, with the information and education I have now, I would maybe not make all of them, but I don't regret any of them.
That's good.
I think that's a good way of looking at it, because I think it's so easy when you go through things and you get to the other end. It's like, like shame just has a way of like coming in and wanting to like run this line with you of like, this is everything you did wrong, which I think goes back to the purity culture, but I'm still in this healing process with that issue, with that. But I think like, I think it like it's ingrained in it. And so you want to go back and feel bad for all these wrong decisions. But the angle of that perspective that just says, but those were the tool. That was what I had in the moment that I had it, and I made the best decision I could with the information that I had. And then in those moments, I was able to evolve into the person that I've become. Mm-hmm. And I think it's easy to get lost or stuck in this place of thinking, I made it and I'm stuck there, not in the fact of what I'm doing on the other side. Which I think is interesting about watching your journey with even where you started, like figuring out where you really wanted to go. Like, I feel just lucky because I've got to witness it from like, I feel like very, very big institutions. Like before you even had like the title for what you wanted to do, it was just like, I remember your mornings of like journaling and just figuring it out. You were just like, and I didn't, here's goals is like when she passes, I'm reading all of her journals and never telling her. Yeah.
They're getting burned.
She swears that her daughter's going to burn them first, but I think I could talk her into letting us read just a few pages, but probably not. But I think like, and then
I'll just outlive everyone.
Let's go. Challenge accepted.
No, that's depressing. Okay, keep going. Dark and what? Dark and deep.
Deep and dark. Deep and dark. But I think like as you've like entered into this path that you've gone and the schooling that you've entered into, like there's been this journey for yourself in that. And have you found like, is it the work that you're doing outside of yourself that you find the most rewarding, or is it like the work you're also finding within yourself, or a mixture of the two?
Is what you're saying is...
You're welcome.
Well, eat up as I ponder this.
There's no passing up in here.
I'm really good at answering questions that were never asked if I don't want to answer.
That's also very true.
I do have that skill. Here, come get your food.
Are we literally eating on camera?
Yeah, it doesn't get better.
Girl.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me give you knives.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, it's got kick.
So I would say, like, it has been a journey and a process. And starting, like, it's kind of fun having Katie, you knowing, like, almost the full journey.
Yeah.
At least 12,
A good part of
11
it.
years.
Yeah.
11 years of it. And Kacee, you coming in the last 2 years where I've already started my career. It's fun to have that contrast because this is where I realized, oh, I actually want to get paid to do something I love. I'm not willing to just work. And this is what I was good at.
I was her first client, guys. I'm not going to test. She's really good at what she does.
And realizing, like, when we got married, I dove into what does a healthy marriage, relationship, sex life look like.
Yeah.
We got home from our honeymoon. I started ordering books because it wasn't what I anticipated. And so doing that and then having children, and then once Noah went to school, our youngest, I went back to school. And so we all did homework together. Wasn't that romantic, but in my mind, if it's going to be, it was just going to be cute. But it was this thing of like, I really love relationships and the dynamic. And so I'm also not willing to recommend someone do something that I'm unwilling to do myself. Yep. And so it is a huge part of like, when someone comes to see me, like they're getting blood, sweat, and tears plus education. So did that answer the question?
It did, because I think in just bringing it back to like the art of what you do, because I think it's really easy to put people either on a pedestal or put them in a box and just say, oh, this is their field of like, right? Like you guys do marketing and social media. And so to put you in this box, but to think that you're not a dynamic individual in what you're experiencing in the field that you're in. And I think when you're in like a coaching field and like the work is very much something that is a part of your life. And so I think the duality of walking it out, not just in the office, but in your own personhood. Like I love that line, like it's your blood and sweat that you're serving with. It's a mixture of both of those things. And I think it's been neat to watch it from this side and see how it's evolved from outside of this island. But yet it still lives here. Like if anybody were to ask me, this is where it happens. And then what people get inside of the office or on a Zoom call it's just the added bonus of it all.
Yeah, I love what I do, and I love it for me, and I love sharing what I learn, right? And so it creates this fluidity of permission almost, being able to just be you. Like I don't want Sam to be me. Yeah. We parent differently, we keep house differently, we run businesses differently, and that is the beauty of us. And I'm not trying to get him to do my stuff because I'm really good at it. And why would I expect him to want to? And then sometimes it's beautiful and other times it's not as beautiful. We are still very human, yet it's the willingness to stay engaged and going after who do we actually want to show up as for ourselves, for each other, and our children and our community. Because you can. I don't want to separate it. Yes, you can. But when you do that, you cut off a part of yourself, cut off a part of just your humanity, your sexuality. Like we try to pretend it's not there. And when we do that, we get guarded, we get defensive, and we can't understand why things aren't working. It's because we aren't even able to be true to who we are in ourselves.
So good. Welcome to every day.
I was like, what are your thoughts?
No, I wish more people were open to growing with their partners, because oftentimes you just easily let yourself grow apart, because if you're not evolving together, we're constantly changing. Life is throwing circumstances at us and we have to learn and grow. And so we have to find a way to do that together. Otherwise, I mean, that's why we have such high divorce rates, because everyone's just like, well, this is getting too hard, but it is hard, but I love my favorite motto is choose your hard, right? Like, getting your horse is hard. Yeah. Staying married is hard.
I was telling someone the other day, we were just talking about relationships, and she's like, yeah, I have a hard time. And this wasn't a client. She was like, I'm having a hard time because I want to make sure everyone's happy. And I was like, and how'd that work for you? I was like, that's what got you in this situation. And so was that beneficial? Yeah. And she was like, oh, that's a good point. Like we choose our hard. And so choose one that actually brings you life and you see the growth and the evolution instead of, I feel trapped, because oftentimes the only one that keeps us trapped is ourselves. In this process, what have been some of the most helpful, most practical things that as people are listening or watching, that they can take away from this and be like, oh, that resonated?
One of the ways in which you have so incredibly showed up, like in my life, and the way that you've showed up in my life along the journey, because it's been uniquely tied to your journey, is, I think in the throes of when we met and we were running the marathon, like I was in the throes of having a child who had severe brain damage, and we knew that like death was on the doorstep from her. So you met me in a time when life and death was literally very much a part of my everyday life. And you didn't shy from that journey, no matter what it looked like. There was like the leaning in of you. And I think that's the natural like nature of who you are, is you're not easily intimidated by things. You very easily just like lean in. And which is So when you chose this career path, I was like, this feels very true and right, because it was never intimidating to her. And so I think, and in the throes of that, I was navigating a marriage where we were trying to figure our stuff out, and so there was two of us in there, and we were very human, and we thought we were very powerful humans. And then also we didn't think we were powerful humans. And two people who don't think they're powerful but are trying to be powerful are very messy when they're together. And we were for each other. And so, I was telling Kacee earlier, we had a thing called Furlough Fridays. In the throes of our deepest moments of therapy, I was just like, I need a break. I need a moment to step out of, like, I love you, and you're my favorite person I'm married to right now. You're the one. You're my favorite. You're my favorite one right now. However, I need a breather. And I was like, so can I have like a Friday in which you and I are not together? And I looked amongst like my friends, and I was like, it was this discussion of like, who do you feel the safest with for me to go to in the messiest of our places to breathe and know that we're going to be okay? And he was like, Rebekah's really the only house that I feel like the best with. And that's not a diss to any of my other friends. You all were wonderful. But I think it was being like, he felt safe with it as much as I felt safe with it. And so it was this place, and I would come, and sometimes we fought in her driveway. Sometimes I showed up and we were okay. But we had freedom to be as messy as we were. And then we had the freedom to clean up, and we had the freedom, and we just had this consistent, I believe in who you are and where you're going. And then we also had this like other part that was just like, and here are some tools, or here are some thoughts. And it's just this intuitive nature of how life is and was. And having the conversations of you get to. It was actually, I think on that couch that we talked about, you get to. And I was like, I get to be married? Because right now I don't want to be married. Right now I'm thinking there's other options. Love him, but it would be better if it was from afar. And so I think you were someone who was safe for us as a couple, and me as an individual to figure some things out. And I think as we go through life, underestimate the value of us being a safe person for others. And that comes from wanting to be safe persons for ourselves. And I think that's a piece of you that is modeled, and it's a piece of you. And so you, on this drive of being a safe person for you and honoring who you are, created this very practical and open space for me to come in and be like, hey, like, this is really hard. And I could say anything on that couch. And I could say anything at this island. And the things I've said to you over the years, like in the hardest moments, like with looking at life and death with our daughter, and the moments when I felt the weakest, where I was like, it would be easier if she just left. Like, it's okay if she goes. And it's just like, who says that as a mother? Like, who says to somebody else, I'm really okay if she dies? But it was like, it was real, and it was honest to that moment. It had been a long and hard season. And you're just watching your child suffer.
So that's very practical.
Yeah, just have a dying baby. It's very easy. There's nothing practical about that. You said I could go, guys. No, that's the best I have.
Okay, I love it. The practical I pulled out of that was...
Yes, Kacee, we needed you. You needed to be here.
No, when you're at your worst and you're struggling, like having a place to go, and sometimes you might not have a Rebekah to Linda.
She is one of a kind.
Where were you when I was young?
Yeah.
But being able to go somewhere safe and feel like you can step away from that, because when you're in it, it's so immersive, and like it can take you down. And so I feel like having, again, those perspectives to lean in and help you out of it,
We as humans like to vilify people. And so I would say one thing practically is remember that we are all human, and we get to be, and it doesn't make us bad just because we hurt you. Like, if I hurt your feelings, it doesn't make me a bad person. I don't have to be the bad guy to have you be hurt. I can still be a good guy and hurt your feelings at the same time.
Yeah.
And reconcile that and hold that tension. And that's something we haven't been taught. If you have to sleep next to them after something like that, like, yes, we were raised to go to bed with that. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Sometimes that's the healthiest thing for your marriage.
Yeah.
Or your relationship. Let that sun go down. And like for me, after 7:30, we have to put a pin in it. Because I am not pleasant. After 7:30, and my filter, my willingness to engage in a healthy way to out the window. And even our children know. Yep. And it's been that way since they were little, that after 7:30, they used to go to bed at 7:30, 6:30 on Wednesdays.
6:30 on Wednesdays.
Then 7:30, because I wasn't as good of a mom, because I'm intentional all day long, and then I just like shut down. And now they know they'll check the clock.
Wow.
Before coming to me. Otherwise, they'll be like, I'll ask you tomorrow. I was like, that's so smart. Or they'll ask that.
That is very practical.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
And
they'll
it's super practical.
Right.
Know
or they'll ask her
yourself enough to recognize, like,
Yeah.
I'm not at my best. And it's not because I'm broken. It's not a deficit. It's like, I'm willing to fully embrace my wiring. And yes, granted, there are times at 10 p.m. they come sit on my bed and they want to engage. I can rally, and I do. But they also know there is not every night can I rally.
Yeah.
And so it's know yourself. Be willing to ask yourself the questions.
And sometimes they'll ask you things and you're like, hey, it's after 7:30. Do you want me to answer? Is this the time you want to ask that? And it's just a neat like follow up with them of just reminding like this, I'm at my max here. And it would do better for you to maybe consider asking at a separate time. And which is such a great way to even just in understanding, like installing boundaries of, I don't know if boundaries is the right word, but I think it is. It is understanding your own limit and then teaching them like you're allowed to have a limit, and it doesn't mean love is removed. Doesn't mean that the need isn't going to be met, but there's this true understanding that I can still meet this need, but it's going to be within like I want to meet it in the best way possible, and now's maybe not my best time.
And it gives them opportunity to see that their mom's human.
Yeah.
Like I've never tried to be a perfect human.
Yeah.
Perfect wife, perfect mom. That's way overrated for me.
And I'm pretty sure they say that everyone is the absolute worst to their mothers. Because they're so comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's just, they walk in the room, they call, and you know you're on the phone with your mom. But come on, like there's like no patience whatsoever. Anyway. So maybe at the end of the day, it'll work out.
Yeah.
No wonder.
I think one thing I've always allowed myself is I get to grieve, but it has a limit, you know? Like, okay, I'm going to let myself be immersed in this for however long.
Right.
5-10 minutes, whatever. But then it's like, okay, I've got to express that and I'm going to move on, because that's where the solution comes in. Like, where am I going from here?
Yeah.
And I can kind of walk away with more clarity after that. Because if you just bottle it up and just let it build, then and
It's a messy place there. Sure is.
Yeah.
It's true. Like allowing the time and capacity to feel the feels, which a lot of us didn't have access to. And so it is a relearning of what it means to be human and to be emotional in the best way possible. Like emotions aren't bad. Drama's not bad. It's something we get to experience. And if we don't allow ourselves to do it, then it becomes annoying because it's all or nothing. And people are blindsided because you're fine. And then you're not. You're like, what happened? Right? And so it's allowing ourselves to fully be present in ourselves and with others, and even check in like, oh, that kind of stung when you said that. Like, just name it. Mm-hmm. But that has never been safe. And so find one person that if they say something, like your spouse or a good friend, like, oh, that kind of stung when you said that. Like, oh, let me clarify or something, because then that doesn't get stored and then it doesn't get bottled and come up over here
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then
because it does.
when I go there, I totally forget while I'm upset. It was something good.
We don't know why we're angry.
I promise you, it was
It's
good.
just there. I stored that anger, hurt, frustration, and man, you're gonna get it all now.
It protected me at some time, so it must be protecting me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's important is regulating yourself as an adult, your emotions. We're still learning at 41. And then we have these littles. My son's 6 and still gets angry, and he doesn't know why, and I don't know why. And I'm like trying to help him regulate his. I'm like, we're all just figuring this out as we go. I'm trying to give practical tips to him. But
Yeah. It's all about like, oh, our children are our guinea pigs, and if we didn't have access to this,
Yeah.
like it is on the job training.
Yeah.
And so it's recognizing, be gracious with ourselves. And then, like, do you know how many times I've had to call my mom and apologize for my judgmentalness, pre-marriage, pre-kids, pre-teen, like
oh yeah,
all these things. Like, I thought this, that, or whatever that wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
Or even with the children, I was like, hey, I am really sorry. Like, circling back, because we are human and we get to be human.
Yeah.
And if we allow our children to see our humanity and our cleanup, like, that's huge. Well, ladies, thank you. Let's wrap this up. And I want to thank you so much, because this has been a dream for over 10 years of mine to do this and let others experience what we've got to experience. And because this is where I'm most comfortable. And so thank you for being willing to show up and to be my guinea pigs in the kitchen.
thank you.
Yes. Thanks for letting us be here.
Anytime.
Like tomorrow? Tomorrow was great for me. Perfect.